Welcome, this is Chris Chipinelli at the Manufacturing Leadership Summit. I'm here with Val Zanchuk of Graphicast. Thanks for joining us, Val.
My pleasure.
Just wanted to talk a little bit today about adaptive manufacturing, adaptive leadership. We were talking a little bit offline here about how bigger manufacturers might be able to adapt. Talk to us a little bit about your advice for them.
Well, my advice is if you're buying from smaller job shops or contract manufacturers, go see them and see how their businesses work, because we're always having to adapt to someone else's demand. We have no products of our own. We're a manufacturing service, so we're constantly under pressure to change and adapt to our companies and our customers' needs. And this is how we survive. So I think the big companies who are trying to be more nimble would be really serving their efforts well by visiting some of their smaller suppliers and seeing how they have to adapt to the world around them and how we have to do many of the things that the big companies are talking about doing and perhaps at this point don't really know how yet to address.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective. What are the kinds of things that they would see when they get to on-site there at Graphicast, for example?
Well,
what kinds of adjustments?
With us, we try to have a very formal business structure which allows our operation to run pretty much on its own in terms of the scheduling and the normal day-to-day operations. So that allows us to really get above the fray and look at the demand and how we need to adjust things. We typically have a staged response. If things really get hectic, we will increase time on the floor with overtime. If they get even a little more crazy, we have a group of outside machine shops that we can go to take on some of our workforce. So we'll send them castings that they can machine for us. And then once we see some sort of sustainability in that growth, then we'll make the investment in some new capital, which we've just done. So now we'll be increasing capacity and we'll be going through that whole process again of capacity that's capable of handling things, then being pinched and then going to more overtime and outsourcing and then buying more equipment again. So it goes through a real cycle. Yeah,
you told me you just invested in 2 new CNC machines.
Right, so
what about the workforce angle about that? Obviously you invested in the machines. Do you also invest now in ramping up the workforce?
Well, we are going to be looking at ramping up the workforce, probably trying to do it a little more efficiently than we have in the past. So although we normally have 1 person per machine per shift, we're going to see how well we can do with having maybe 1 person for 2 machines as we move forward and see how well that works, which should give us a little bit more profitability and a little more flexibility in our operations.
Okay. Any trouble filling the workforce positions that you have?
It does take us time to fill the workforce positions. We end up using temp agencies as our primary source, and that way we can test people out without a commitment to them. And then once we've recognized they're good, then we just convert them to full-time.
Good. Thank you, Val Zanchuk. Appreciate your insight.
My pleasure.